US President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs threat looms large. However, India and US have started working on a trade deal as announced during the visit of Prime Minister Modi to the White House in February. But what could this deal look like at a time when policymaking under President Trump is being seen as dramatic, drastic, and perhaps even impulsive? I have with me the President and the CEO of the US India Strategic Partnership Forum, Dr. Mukesh Aghi, to discuss this. Many thanks, Dr. Aghi, for speaking with NDTV. Now, there was a talk of a trade deal and then a mini trade deal during the previous tenure of President Trump, but nothing materialized. So, what has changed between then and now?
Well, you have to understand Trump sees the current global trade system not healthy for the US economy. And he sees tariff as a way to bring nations to negotiating table. And he's doing this with Canadians, the Mexicans, the Chinese, and others. And the last trade deal, which basically the first Trump 1.0, didn't happen because it was not big enough for Trump. So he decided not to pursue it. And now the discussion is, as after the Prime Minister's visit, is have some kind of a trade deal by fall of this year, and also target the trade between the two countries to $500 billion by 2030. So I think there is a momentum, there's a direction, and there's an incentive for both sides to conclude some kind of agreement so you can drive more trade between two countries.
How could the 2nd April reciprocal tariffs announcement play into this?
Well, I guess this is not just with India. It is also with other countries also. So you will see that creating, I would say, more chaos globally because, and also you don't have resources within the US to deal with every country on reciprocity basis, putting those tariffs. So I think you will see some kind of a chaos coming in, and hopefully then country by country they're able to sort out. But we will see, because I think so far, when you look at the experience of Mexico and Canada, you have tariffs imposed, unimposed, imposed, unimposed. So that process continues. As I said, Trump uses tariff more from the perspective of negotiation rather than just a policy itself.
What do you see could be the main demands from America's side for this deal?
Well, the overall objective is twofold. One is market access and level playing field. And that means a US company having market access from financial sectors to other area and then level playing field. So removing non-tariff barriers for these companies. I think that's the crux of the objective. And then companies have to compete from that perspective.
And what happens to sectors like agriculture? Would India make it clear that there are certain no-go zones?
It needs to. I think you have to understand, especially our farm sector is heavily employs basically unskilled laborers. They can't compete with corporate farm organizations. And so from an India perspective, you got to basically protect national food environment, protect the farmers. So I think those would be the areas of no-go zones. Yes, there could be exception. For example, India will say, okay, we don't grow enough of almonds, and let's bring more almonds from California, or looking at pecans. So I think there'll be some exceptions, but overall, I would say the farm area is going to be very critical of no-go zone.
I want to ask you about trust and confidence. Where does it leave these when a trade deal that was existing in North America. The NAFTA was renegotiated during the previous tenure of President Trump. It became CUSMA, as it's called in Canada, and even that is being questioned by the Trump administration now. So where does that leave any country that is dealing with America feel any sort of confidence when they are negotiating a deal?
I think that's the question now. Every country is asking is where is the goalpost, and will the goalpost keep on moving? You say the NAFTA was renegotiated, and now that's being kind of thrown into the pond and say, okay, we need to renegotiate again. So I think countries have to learn from that experience and go with the expectations that whatever you sign, agree on, it may not be the final goalpost. It may move on. So I think the countries have to put in their own rail guards to protect their economy, their employment, their IP. So I think it's important to keep this in mind as you move forward with the negotiation.
The two sides have set fall 2025 as the target. Do you think that's a bit ambitious, would you say?
I think it's ambitious, but I think you also have to understand if you don't have a timeline, we seem to drag it on. I mean, say, look at the discussion of the European Union has been going on for 10 years. You look at UK dragging on. I think it's important to have some kind of guidelines, timelines to come to a conclusion. Otherwise, the process continues. And you have to understand from a US perspective, you have a president who basically has to get a lot of this stuff done at least a few months before the midterm election. And if he's not able to show those results on his commitment during the first time, then I think he will have impact on the losing most probably the House itself. So I think there is a sense of urgency, there's a sense of focus in the Trump administration to get some of these things done in a certain time period itself.
Dr. Aghi, many thanks for speaking with NDTV.
Thank you very much.